Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings, presented by... almost went with the old ad there. Presented by Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about achievements on Switch 2 and is Silent Hill going to be a real good video game? We'll find out. It's going to be a good one because we have Jason Fanelli on the show. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I cannot lie. Things feel I'm back. I feel like I'm back in my own skin again after a couple weeks of real hazy mental days. I feel like I'm productive. I feel like I'm raring to go. I don't know if it's because I have a trip coming up next week. I don't know if it's because my sports teams are lifting my spirits. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I'm in a good headspace. I'm in a good mindset.
Good.
Things are good.
Yep.
How about you?
I like to hear it. I have an upset tummy. I got up having tummy issues this morning. Took some Pepto and should be fine, but we'll find out. If I'm not, I think it'd be real funny if I had to run out of the middle of this episode to go use the toilet. So I'm gonna risk it. We'll see.
If there's any Roblox stories, I think I got you. But
okay, yeah, I can just all right, just set them up with Roblox and I can walk away. Hell yeah.
Yeah. But are you like me so Pepto cures my stomach issues too, but not for the way it's supposed to. I drink Pepto and I immediately empty the contents of my stomach because I hate the taste of it. Is that how it works for you?
No, that would actually be more useful maybe. No, I'm fine. I can drink that stuff and it calms the tummy down a little bit. So we'll see. I think that it was just like it might honestly might be emotional stuff. Might be like, just dealing with a little bit of stress and it's getting to the tummy a little bit. So
yeah, it happens.
We'll just we'll settle in, relax, talk about video games with Jason Fanelli. I think we'll be all right. How are you doing otherwise? You and Jan talking a lot about Magic when I came in here. Anything to say for yourselves?
I'm going to Atlanta next week. I'm very excited about it. It should be fun. He is not. He is, but that's fine. I'll play games for him. But no, I played some games last night. Things are starting to pick up again with Spider-Man coming out this week. I put that video out, which I was really nervous about, but y'all were very nice about it. That actually checked it out, talking about Spider-Man, and they must have listened because right after I put that video out, the price of the boxes I was showing kind of went down. Okay. It's still too expensive, still like $600-$700, but not like the 900 that it was, which is nice. I'm going to do another one today. This video is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to just be me. I'm going to be interviewing someone.
Oh, cool.
And I'll just leave that tease there. That interview is actually right after this. So I'll have that up hopefully by the end of the day, and I hope y'all enjoy it.
All right. Fantastic. Yeah. You mentioned going to Atlanta, and Jan's not going to be there. Something about Jan in Atlanta sounds dangerous to me. I don't know. Something about like he would just get up to some shit.
I would just go to Magic City. Let's just get it out there. All right. I would just go there and sample the food. Only the food.
There you go.
I would want you to have a Sherpa, someone to take care of you, make sure you don't get into too much trouble, Jan. All right, we should explain what we do here. We're Giant Bomb. Go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member to support what we do here. We're independent. This is independent games media, and we need your help to continue doing what we do. All the support that we have seen has been super helpful. It makes us want to work that much harder to do everything that much better. And also wants to make sure we're also getting you plenty of goodies like ad-free episodes. And, the most recent voicemail dump truck had another bonus question we did on there that you can listen to if you're a premium member. We did a town hall discussion not too long ago. We'll have more stuff coming up soon. It's giantbomb.com/join. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Sony to host State of Play next week, claims Insider. This is from Benfellow at PSU. Nate the Hate is now confirming that he's hearing that there will be one. There will be one next week. Like I've been saying for a while, expect one before the end of September. It's not that 007 one that had already happened. There's a separate one. So some more conversations starting to pop up around this, and I think people are starting to set expectations relatively high, and I'm like ready to like give people some hope. Like, yeah, you probably will be hearing more about. Is it Soros? Is that the new one from the team that did
Housemark.
yes,
With
Housemark. Thank you.
with Khalil.
Returnal.
That's not his name. Rahul Cole.
Rahul Kohli.
That's
Yes.
it. Thank you. Yeah. Oh God, I completely forgot about that one.
Right. So that's a big one that is like coming up, I think, relatively soon. I think they've said that is for next year. So they'll have to give us an update on that. That seems completely like a fair expectation to see something there. Then the God of War spinoff, the Metroidvania. Yes, we'll probably get something with that. There's questions around like all of the bigger stuff that might be a little bit further out, but a lot of smoke around Wolverine. And I think I'm choosing to believe that one will be there as well. I heard like they were definitely considering it. They want to show it off. It all just comes down to the timing. I think it's probably going to work out that we will see something there, but I don't know for sure. Jason, my question would be like, beyond that, let's say this is a state of play that walks the line of maybe being close to a showcase. What would it have to include to like get to that point? Or is it already kind of close if it has those three things?
Those three things definitely prop it up a little bit. We would have to hear something about intergalactic, planetary, intergalactic from Naughty Dog. I think, especially with
That game is so far away, though, right?
You would assume so, but why can't I think of his name? The head writer of Naughty
Neil
Dog.
Druckmann.
Jesus Christ, why couldn't I think of that? But yeah,
try running this show. I forget names every 30 seconds. I get it.
He has now updated his social media to be all intergalactic all the time. His bio now says coming soon, intergalactic. It's got the woman with the sword. So that kind of tips the hand maybe that there's something else. It might just be like a small gameplay teaser with some more story trailer sort of thing. You figure that only debuted at the Game Awards last year, right? We haven't heard a thing about it since then. So if they have a little more to show, why not do it here? I think if I go back and look at Naughty Dog's other marketing leading up to their games, they were a drip feed sort of company. They didn't just like blow it all out at once, right? So I think you could see that there. I'm trying to think what else there might be. Yotei is coming, so
I mean they'll give us they'll update us on Yotei, of course. Yes, sure. You're right. But it's like, okay, well, what about the Sony Santa Monica game? That is one that's like we could see that here. If that happens, then this is like a really big state of play. If it has that many first party goings ons. That it is so much so that it would include what's happening at Sony Santa Monica and them announcing their game. And then at that point, you could fill out the rest with maybe a couple of partnered published games and a lot of third party, and you got yourself a really nice show, especially if you can get a lot of those games some dates for next year. Intergalactic's one, it's like, yeah, we could hear about it. You're right. It's been a year. At the same time, I feel like we might not hear about it for another 2 years until it's ready to go in 2027.
Could be.
And it feels like that's the earliest it could come out, as well as like it could be like a PS7 sort of launch title at some point. So whenever that comes out, or I'm sorry, PS6. Jesus, someone in the chat said PS7 as a joke, and then that got my head. I don't want to give the wrong impression. When I heard about this early on, and I was talking to some contacts, sort of they couched it in like, look, expect a state of play and be realistic about the timeline that Sony's working with, where they might want to focus on a couple of these games, Soros and God of War, first before they talk about anything else. I think now it sounds like Wolverine as well, and I'm not going to expect anything beyond that, because again, state of plays can often be they can feel, I just want to say disappointing, but whatever. Where should expectations be for a state of play? They often feel obligatory. They often feel like something or Sony going through the motions of, we have this big platform, we need to use it to help our partners out, and as well as to help our own games occasionally. So let's put these things together and just communicate to our audience and sell some video games. And it's sort of just them, doing normal marketing stuff. We kind of build it up in our heads. But at the same time, it does feel like maybe we're due for one of these to pop off, and this one makes a lot of sense.
Now, wouldn't they just call it a showcase at that point? I'm assuming that the state of play is just for the rumors, but I would like to think that PlayStation has some sort of differentiator between a state of play and a showcase. And if what we're talking about right now, with all of these potential first-party games, that's a showcase to me. Then again, if they use the showcase name and it underwhelms, so what do you do here? Do you use state of play and over-deliver, or do you use showcase and potentially under-deliver? It's this weird dichotomy dilemma that they've caused for themselves. that I don't really envy them on that one. But also too, I think hype in general for this is semi-influenced by how excited we all were about Nintendo last Friday.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of on to the next one in these rumors, I think, that is sort of generating this hype. And whatever happens with it, be it next week or the week after, I do think there is one. We are due. The last state of play besides the 007 one was pre-SGF, I recall.
And we often get one in September.
Yeah. September is the month for that. So, yeah, bring on these first-party games. Bring on the Final Fantasy IX remake, for fuck's sake. We're talking about I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, actually, because Square Enix has so many things that they're working on right now, and every new showcase brings one or two. They announced 3 RPGs in a month and a half from July 31st, and then last week, Elliot with Philadelphia, Octopath Zero, and then
with no Philadelphia.
And Dragon Quest VII Reimagined with a Reabilidia. So I don't know how many studios they got firing right now, but there's a lot going on over there. So maybe that remake was shelved or what, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth talking about because Final Fantasy IX Remake, I think a lot of people have already given up hope. I know that's where Mike's at when I talked to him about it. If it doesn't happen here, it's not happening. If it doesn't get announced at this, pre-Tokyo Game Show state of play from PlayStation, I think that they're just not doing it, unless they're waiting for something at Tokyo Game Show, I guess.
Now, I say all those things, but there is one other thing that Square Enix is working on that we know about. And the word Mike reminded me, so that should kind of tip your mind as to where I'm going here. It's got a 4 in it, and we haven't seen a damn thing about Sora and Kingdom Hearts 4 since that initial trailer. Maybe that's what they bring to the State of Play showcase.
Yeah, that's not impossible for sure.
I don't know, but yeah. So for outside of those two, Capcom has games they could update us on. We could get Resident Evil trailer number 3. We could get the next DLC for Street Fighter, which I believe is Alex or Ingrid. I don't remember which one, but whatever fighter that is, they're coming soon. Yeah, I think there is definitely some fire to this State of Play smoke, but I think the only question now is State of Play or showcase, depending on how much Sony themselves has to share, and that remains to be seen.
Yeah, I think before we get off the topic, I will dial it down. We talked a lot about what could happen, like if it is running up to a showcase. We don't know. Set your expectations accordingly for how you felt out of most State of Plays. I think that's fair. If you're someone who doesn't care about getting disappointed, which, why should you at a certain point? Like, oh, you were expecting something, then you watched it, it wasn't great. So what? Move on with your life. That's how I think people probably should feel about it. But if you do, then get your hopes up as high as possible. And if it's something that really bothers you when these things are disappointing, then set your expectations accordingly.
Quick correction. Viper is next in Street Fighter 6. I thought she was out already because they teased her at Evo, but she didn't actually release her yet. So my bad, y'all.
And let's see, before we move on from Sony, Motor World Hype with a super chat. Seemingly, I can't tell if they're annoyed with you or happy with you. Well, now, don't you tell me to smile. People always say my style is wild. There you go. Thank you, Motor World Hype. Let's go with the Intergalactic Planetary. All right, let's keep moving here. Yakuza Kiwami 3 mentioned, spotted on series' official website. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. The official Japanese website for the Yakuza Like a Dragon series listed, then removed a news category for the unannounced Yakuza Kiwami 3 earlier today. Although the news category was removed, multiple users spotted it before it disappeared, and a Google search still features the category in its meta description. Publisher Sega and Yakuza Like a Dragon series developer Ryuga Gotoku Studio will host RGG Summit 2025 on September 23rd, where the studio is expected to reveal its latest titles. They usually have something for these RGG showcases, these summits, and this is a prolific studio. They get a lot of work done really fast. They put out like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii last year, and they had some other stuff like the year before that, and that's like on top of the major games that they're releasing for like the mainline games from like the Yakuza series. So people were expecting something. I think this lines up with, oh yeah, we're probably due for Kiwami 3. You a Yakuza guy? Is this something that excites you?
I'm a recent Yakuza guy. Infinite Wealth was the first one I ever played. I played Pirate Yakuza. I actually did guides for IGN for both of those, so that's why I played them, and I ended up really enjoying. I ended up really enjoying them. I think it's very smart that they re-release all of the older games just so people like me have a more modern way of catching up with the story, because I feel like it is worthy of that based on the things that I have heard from longtime Yakuza fans or Like a Dragon fans. Lex Luddy is in Japan right now and shuddering and has no idea why. But I will say, speaking of overworked, RGG, my goodness, what you just mentioned, Virtua Fighter is under their purview.
That's right, yeah.
That other game that just got a name.
Project Century that is now...
What is that
something.
name? It just happened.
A name that I do struggle to remember, but I'll remember Project Century for some reason. So we go.
It's Neil Druckmann. That's the name. But yeah, it's
Stranger Than Heaven.
Thank you, Stranger Than Heaven. There it is. That they're working on. Kiwami 3 makes sense. I don't know that they're ready for Like a Dragon 9 or Yakuza 9, whatever you would call it.
Right.
Yet.
Yeah, that feels like we get teased in like the next year and a half. We get teased on that. Sure. But not yet.
But I just hope these guys are resting. You know what I mean? If they're making Kiwami 3 plus everything else on their plate, I hope Sega gives them a day off once in a while so they can recharge.
Feels like a very efficient studio. Feels like they know how to like use their tools and reuse assets, and they're like, hey, no, these games take place in the same city. The city isn't going to change all that much. We're not going to rebuild all this stuff. Let's just use it as a set like you would a movie set. And so, yeah. I love that. Keep doing more of that. And they've figured that out, and I think it's enabled them to sort of navigate this generation of making games better than just about any other studio.
That is basically what Pirate Yakuza was. Different character, same settings, and all the pirate shenanigans were new, but everything else, like Hawaii, was the exact same map. As Infinite Wealth, and that honestly made it a little easier to play. Right, I already knew where I was going. I knew how to navigate. There is an advantage to that, I think. Plus, Goro is awesome, so he made perfect. Or Majima, so he made the perfect hero there. I do like. There is something to be said about efficiency, where you sacrifice perhaps advancing to cutting edge technology sooner. And then just staying in what you're familiar with and creating experiences from that might turn some people off that want the next big thing for your franchise. But at the same time, if you're bringing out quality games,
Stranger Than Heaven looks like a next big thing amazing. for like a lot of new tech in there. And in the meantime, they can kind of keep working on these other games that are more familiar in those familiar settings, using the familiar tools, and no one's complaining. And it's like, for the most part, it's like if people start to, well, what are you complaining about? The studio's got something new that looks new, and it's like, oh, they're just doing it all. It feels like, well, how long can that last? Eventually, they'll run out of rope there, or they'll have some technical hiccup that causes a derailment, and then does everything come crumbling down in that moment? It hasn't so far, but whatever. Even if they do have a problem in the future, it's been so impressive up to this point that they should still get their flowers.
But going back to strategy too, I think that's why them picking up Virtua Fighter makes a lot of sense too, because it allows them a fighting game to sort of tinker with their combat system. They may find things in whatever they develop for Virtua Fighter that translate seamlessly into Like a Dragon if they ever want to go back to real-time combat, or vice versa, something about the narrative direction of Like a Dragon games or the way that their stories are told or even their cinematics. We're already seeing that in the small Virtua Fighter clips that we have. So them also being allowed to branch out of their adjacent genres. They're not completely the same, obviously. Fighting is just fighting, where this has where Like a Dragon has fighting aspects, but being able to sort of branch out and try different things makes their core franchise better, I would think.
That's true.
I think there's a lot of strategy in that as well.
Yep, and I think Kiwami 3 is something that had to happen. My understanding is, as someone who's not played it, not a fan favorite, but also one that they want to get the Kiwami treatment. They want to see like what can be improved, and then once it's out of the way, then they can get to these other games that people like better and go to a new spinoff like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which is a fun thing just to say the whole name of each time.
Good stuff.
Yep. All right. Let's take a break. We have plenty more headlines to get to. We're gonna go hear from character issues. When we come back, like I said, plenty more news. If you want to skip this, you go to giantbomb.com/join to become a premium member. Get the ad-free version of the show. We'll be right back.
Coming to you live from Giant Bomb. It's the Character Issues Podcast.
The Character Issues Podcast is a podcast where we are making the definitive scientific list of the greatest video game characters of all time. Every episode, I am joined by hosts Leah Haydu.
It's me. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello.
And Rich Davison.
Hello from across the pond.
As we discuss, rank, and basically give you the definitive guide of who are the greatest video game characters of all time. We currently have over 70 episodes out, and I know what you're thinking. I don't want to go back and listen to all of those episodes, so here's a few facts to catch you up on any in-joke lore so you can jump in right now.
We have an unhealthy relationship with the character Voldo from Soul Calibur.
Rich really hates the Scandinavians.
The most important spot is the number 69 spot.
Every 23 episodes, we have a re-rank-a-palooza.
The second number one important spot is, again, not the top spot, it's the bottom spot, which is perennially going to be Chadley from Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth.
I'm so funny. Like, seriously, you guys, you don't even know.
So, if after hearing all of those wonderful facts about our podcast, you're still interested, you can go to any of your podcast services and search for the Character Issues Podcast, and it will be there. You can also follow us on Blue Sky at the Character Issues Podcast, or send us an email at characterissuespodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and thank you, Giant Bomb, for allowing us to advertise on your wonderful podcast about video games. We look forward to talking to all of you soon.
It's a lot.
Oh,
Hey, it's Game Mess Mornings, and we're back for more. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's Jason Fanelli. Let's get back into the headlines here with the first official Silent Hill F review is in, and it's positive. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. The first official review of Silent Hill F. You know what? Silent Hill. That's just easier to say.
Silent Hill
has been published, and it's a positive one. Japanese publication Famitsu gave it a 36 out of 40 total, but that's with its 4 reviewers, each giving it a 9 out of 10. They still do the review crew style thing. Yeah, they're praising, it's grotesque and breathtaking, horrifying, all the things you want from a Silent Hill game. And this is on top of that leaked review that we got from that person that did not understand embargoes. It's a shame. I really was like, that one's on DualShock. I should not explain it to someone who's clearly not new to this concept.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, my first reaction in the Slack chat was, what a maroon. But then when I started really learning about it, it was their second ever review. They were list writers before that. This is a side gig. They're a high school teacher, I think. Then they do have a degree in journalism, so that kind of makes me wonder if they just forgot what embargoes were.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably something that gets covered like briefly in school. Like it's not that big of a thing unless you're working with it every day.
I saw Dogpile and I'm just like, nah, man, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It's an unfortunate situation with a lot of different failures, but I agree with you that it falls on editorial. Like I said, because of who owns DualShockers, I made the hypothesis that it was just in a Slack chat, code, date, off you go. And then somebody replied to me that who used to work for that parent company that said it may have just even been a Trello card. With that information, and you just assign it to yourself. So it just sounds like a very unfortunate situation for someone who was very excited to talk about it, to the point where they didn't want to wait any longer than they had to, and it ended up biting them in the backside. A true horror story to come from a horror game, and one to learn from. So I hope that person learns from it, takes it on the chin, and just, becomes a better writer for it. I would hate for them to use this as the last review they ever do, because I want to read those words. Obviously, they were excited about it. I want to know why. I want that perspective. I would hate for that perspective to go away because of this. Not so much the situation, but because of the unfortunate dogpiling that happened afterward. I don't think it was entirely their fault. That's all.
I mean, internet loves their daily, like, main star of Twitter sort of thing, their main star of the conversation, and going after him. And I could tell right away that was going to happen. I was not feeling great about it.
Yeah.
They liked the game though. Gave it a 9.5. And it's like, okay, this sounds like a super fan, so maybe that's just what's happening here. I don't know. It's impossible to know until we get more reviews and play the game ourselves. But I've not touched this. I don't have code for it. And when I go looking around for opinions about it, it does sound like the early word is from these reviews, this game could really hit very hard. Yeah. And it makes me like just continue to feel pretty encouraged by everything Konami's doing. A successful company in many other ways, but not one that seemed very interested in traditional mainstream AAA video games. And Capcom certainly kind of made them turn a light bulb on and be like, wait, we could still probably make a lot of money doing that. And they're not phoning it in. And if they are phoning it in, the parts that they're phoning in seem to not be affecting the end product. They are, right. Maybe they are not like super plugged in, but they are at least trusting the right people to get the jobs done. And I'm like, okay, if this is the future of Konami, if we can get 10 years of this, at that point we could start getting we better get that Castlevania game. But what else you got? I want to see it all.
That's the one, I think. Once the Castlevania hits, if that is good, whether it's a 2D throwback or something more modern, then I think we'll start talking about them with Sega and Capcom, and Square Enix is firing on all cylinders again. I think they've established a good start. I think going with Bloober for the Silent Hill 2 remake was genius. I think that was a great idea for both sides. That's going to be looked back as one of those partnerships that really benefited both sides in the long run. It allowed them to get extra time for this F, which sounds like it's a fantastic game. The bringing in the writer, as it Rikishi07, I think, the Japanese visual novel writer that they brought in to write this, that was a smart decision too. It sounds like they've figured out what they can do and what they were struggling with before, and then going out to those who can help them with their faults. And that is growth, baby. That's what you want to see. The kind of growth we like talking about, not this infinite growth business bullshit. I'm sure we'll get into that eventually. But I like this. I like that they are on the upswing. I think there is still a lot that Konami can bring to this industry through its franchises. I don't know that a new Metal Gear is ever going to happen. That might be like a remake, remaster, build the war chest, build the coffers sort of thing. Because without Kojima, I don't know that Metal Gear is Metal Gear. And that Survive one, Zombie one, I think that's all the proof you need. But I'm very excited to see Castlevania is the last bastion. I feel like Castlevania is the last Konami franchise that we have not seen a new one of yet. Of their big ones, I'm probably missing.
Right. I mean, there's stuff like there's Contraman. I was thinking Bomberman. Contraman. I was thinking of Contra and Bomberman at the same time. There's Rocket Knight Adventures, things that are way down the list. You're right. Yeah. Castlevania is the next big one.
No, wait a second. Rocket Knight Adventures. That door is open. If Bubsy can come back, there is hope for Rocket Knight.
Look, I'm not some nerd who likes Rocket Knight Adventures. I've never played it. I know there's some fans out there, so let's troll them a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like this is good. This is the kind of positive, environment or positive feeling about Konami that had been lost for a very long time in the early to mid 2010s when they decided to go full pachinko machine. And I hope it works out for them. I really do. 10 more years of Konami making great games just feels right. I hope it works out.
Yep, exactly. I'm rooting for it. I'm rooting for them. My opinion on the Metal Gear thing is I feel the exact opposite as with many Metal Gear fans, where being able to look at it a little bit from the outside. I've played a lot of the Metal Gear games. I've not played 2, 3, or 4. But looking at it from the outside, it's like, look, if they do these remakes right, there's definitely a pathway for them to make a new Metal Gear game of sorts. At the very least, they could do like a new Revengeance, bring in Platinum or the Platinum people, something like that. And then if they do a good job on that opens the door even further. It's like they have to get everything right. So that's a really difficult thing to do. So yes, it is still unlikely, but there's a pathway where if they put in the effort and they show a Capcom-like ability to remake these games in such a way where it's like, man, they're even better than before. Now, 3 was not that. That was a direct 1-to-1 remake for the most part. But as they go forward, maybe they kind of show off a little bit more, and then in 8 years, we were like, okay, they've done a lot of these Metal Gear remakes now. Should we start thinking about a new one? I think it'll go over a little bit easier at that time.
It may go over easier. I'm more worried about, I think for me personally, and I could be wrong about this, but one of the crowning achievements of that entire franchise was its admittedly batshit storyline. I loved it. I loved everything about that storyline. And I'm not saying the writer's not out there, but I feel like it's the kind of half game, half movie sort of mindset that Kojima's really good at. And just call me a skeptic because I haven't seen it from anyone else yet. If there's someone out there who can do it, please, by all means, give them the reins. If there's something
they would have to be spending all of these years of these remakes sort of like steeping themselves in that and training up a whole new generation of people that could figure that out.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes. No, I don't think he's the only one that can make it. I just think right now, other than remakes, I don't see it yet. I think
you do a remake of the MSX games of the Nintendo game, and it's like at that point you can really just sort of like, okay, we're going to adapt this story, we're going to fill in a lot of the gaps. Can we do this style right? I think that's sort of a proving ground at some point, but we'll see. Long ways off.
I apologize for that exaggerated reaction, but Twitch chat brings up a very interesting potential partner for a Metal Gear story, and that is Remedy.
Yeah.
Sam Lake. Give me some musical theater in Metal Gear. Let's go. That is interesting.
A big, show-stopping number. Absolutely. Let's go. All right. Let's keep going here. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake is reportedly adding extra content and RPG mechanics, aiming for a March release. This comes from Chris Scullion at VGC. French publisher Jeux Video Magazine, which has posted information on Ubisoft games in the past, says it has received details on the remake from a variety of anonymous sources. According to these sources, it seems likely that the game is looking at a March 2026 release, but at least one source suggested that they weren't entirely confident this target would be reached, given how much work is left to be done. It's reported that Ubisoft Singapore, which previously worked on the naval battle elements of Black Flag and went on to develop its successor of sorts, Skull and Bones, is leading development of the remake, with support reportedly coming from other studios such as Ubisoft Bordeaux and Ubisoft Belgrade. Jeux Video reports that parts of the present-day sections from the original Black Flag are being removed and replaced with more pirate-era content, resulting in a game that will still be longer than the original. Estimates suggest around 4 hours of extra content have been added, including a section involving the Mary Read character, which was removed in the original game. Apparently, Jason, they're also added stuff like RPG mechanics, like some of the more recent, I'm like, okay, so they are kind of fundamentally changing the progression in the game. To me, that sounds like, the thing you do while you're playing the game, the thing that sort of is just happening off to the side. I don't know if that's going to be too much of a bump in the road for me of being able to go back and enjoy this game. Although I'm also not particularly craving to go back to Black Flag all that much. I like that game a ton, but I played it, and it's not one of those ones I'm always thinking about going back to. But who knows? If they nail it, maybe I will.
I feel like most of the convoluted parts of Assassin's Creeds recently are those RPG-like mechanics, not to mention the gigantic maps. So
yeah, but people, I don't know, people do show up for those games though.
And they do.
And
they do, I don't know. I don't. If you're going to remake Black Flag. You want to get rid of the Abstergo stuff, the present day stuff, and just have it be the pirate stuff? Fine. You want to get really saucy and mix Black Flag with Rogue and have those stories intertwine? That would be very cool, but that's kind of hard to do, right? I don't know. As soon as I heard the RPG stuff, I was okay with the Abstergo going away. If you just want to focus on the pirate stuff, it's the best part of the game. But the RPG, I don't know. I don't know if Black Flag needs that. That feels like overcomplicating what was a very good Assassin's Creed game. I could be wrong. They could have found a way.
I don't want to see like a bunch of I don't want to see like a huge deep loot system or one that's trying to play it being deep. That would be distracting for sure. So I hope this just means very light character upgrade stuff. There's probably a new skill tree. That's probably what this is, and that wouldn't get in the way of this game all that much, and maybe just give you one more fun thing to do while you are exploring the world. But you're right. Like at a certain point, it's like that's not what Black Flag was. It doesn't need it. So what are they doing here? but maybe they're like, well, we know we got the old Black Flag fans. Let's see if we can bring in these new Assassin's Creed fans by promising the stuff that they do like, and a lot of them do like these new Assassin's Creed games quite a bit. We'll see. This is one that could pop up anywhere. This could be at the State of Play, could be at the Keeleys, it could be in a bunch of places. We'll see if we hear about it anytime soon.
Yeah.
Report finds nearly all gamers have played a remaster or remake in the last year. Weird. It's only like many of our stories were about exactly that. This is from Darren Bonthus, or as I wrote here, Baron Bonthus, Baron Bonthus at GameSpot. If you played
on his red plane.
Yeah, yeah, he's got a bunch of skulls on the side. He's a deadly killer. If you've played any PC or console game over the last 12 months, there's a good chance that at least one of them was a remake or a remaster. That's according to new research, which found that not only have these games been popular with the people they polled for this research, they've also been desirable diversions. Specialist strategy and insights consultancy firm MTM, via gamesindustry.biz, polled 1,500 people, and 750 people each, or that's 750 people each in the US and the UK, who play games regularly. Our report shows that there is a strong appeal for remakes and remasters, but it's a tight balancing act for studios to get right, and that's according to the head of gaming at MTM. Many of these games are far outselling their original release. Okay, yeah, this is just sort of like news that we already knew to be true in some ways, but having it sort of just like blatantly confirmed by some light research here. It's like, yeah, I guess, Jason, my question would be like, what are you feeling about remakes and remasters these days? To me, it's almost like, yeah, that's just gaming. I want those because that's it feels like a new way to play games to me. I don't think about it much deeper than that. I don't think most people are. How are you feeling about it?
I think there's two ways to go about it. One, it's bringing classic games to a modern age, which always has that nostalgia hit, right? So you might even attract people who haven't played games in a while to replay these games that they like, Delta and Oblivion and things like that. But more importantly, I think the world has a lot of people really, really anxious right now. And anything they can do to remind themselves of times that they weren't so anxious seems to make a lot of sense. So I get it. I get wanting to go back to a time of innocence. I get wanting to go back to and relive a time that you really thought of fondly in your life with a video game associated with it. There is a psychological aspect to it, I think. And it might also be, too, there's just people who are, I don't want to say, maybe just apathetic to the current gaming landscape. Like, they just do not jive with how the AAA big-time title games are in this day of age. So they go back to, if they're not going back to games on their original consoles, they're going to get these remakes and play them with that fresh coat of paint, with those fresh graphics and things like that. I can't say I'm surprised by it. Nostalgia has always been a major play in every media that there is. But I wonder too, again, how much of it is just people being like, I need to escape. Let's go to the games I used to like. Yeah, I mean, that's why I still play things like old Street Fighter games or old Marvel vs. That's why the Marvel vs. Capcom collection and Capcom fighting collections have resonated with me so well. I just remember like being a kid and playing these fighting games and making, basically it was action figures, but on a screen, and making them butt heads to see who would win. I really, really enjoyed that. So now I get to do that with those same games on these modern consoles or PC or what have you. And there's a unique sense of joy that comes from that, as opposed to buying a brand new game and playing that. It's still joy. It's just a different kind.
Yeah, and there's a lot of socializing in video games where people will play games online or hang out in a Discord, and people will talk about growing up on certain games. And there's probably a lot of people, probably more than we even realize, who are in these spaces who have gotten into this kind of space where you might be in a Discord where people are talking about playing old video games relatively recently, in the last 5 to 10 years. And there's probably a lot of games that people bring up all the time that you hear about and you never touched, and then they get remade or remastered, and you're like, well, now is my chance to go and play this and be a part of that conversation. Or like, even if you were playing games that entire time in these spaces, maybe you were on one platform, maybe you were playing on console, and now there's some PC stuff that's coming your way, and you're like, well, let's try that, or vice versa. A lot of console games finally going to PC. I think that's like, this is just like a reminder. It's like, oh yeah, that game that was such a huge hit back in 2000, yeah, it sold 3 million copies, and that was a huge hit back then. And now there are an equivalent hit would be like 15 million. There's tons of people that like have never ever seen this thing actually in motion. Let's give them a chance to try it out. All right.
Or real quick, some people just take those nostalgia hits as memes, and they set a reminder for when the Virtual Boy becomes available on Nintendo's website. That, maybe we're just sick, Jeff.
Is it available yet? Is it available? I need to get it. Everybody, help a brother out as soon as it goes up. People are pre-ordering it in the UK. What's taking so long in the United States?
Yeah,
probably tariffs. Honestly, probably just logistics.
That's it.
Good fun stuff. All right, let's see here. New PS5 system update out now with power saving mode and DualSense sync upgrade. This is from Grace Benfell at GameSpot. A new PlayStation 5 system update is now available as of September 17th, bringing the ability to pair a DualSense to multiple devices at once. The update also introduces a power saver mode on the PS5, which future updates to games like Death Stranding 2, Demon's Souls, and Ghost of Yotei will add support for. So basically, they'll be able to go into power saving mode on PS5. Well, I don't fully understand. I was trying to figure this out. Yeah, go ahead.
Sounds like you'll be able to go into the game and put it in power saving mode while the game is active. So that way you can just turn the console back on and bang, you're right back in the game. Sort of like a quick resume sort of deal.
Right, quick resume, yes. For these, it has to be engaged on a title by title basis, it sounds like.
Yeah,
so it's okay. Interesting. It's probably something that some people will want to take advantage of. I was more interested in the DualSense, the idea of being able to have it connected to my PS5 and my PC at the same time. That sounds really nice. I don't have multiple PS5s, but maybe one day I will get a Pro. Who knows? And I like the idea of like controllers just not. I was playing the final boss of Silksong yesterday, and I was down here, and I was trying to play, and I'm like, suddenly it just started pausing. I'm like, I'm definitely not hitting the pause button. And like, my kid had a controller upstairs. She was trying to connect it to, or she was trying to play her Switch, and it's like, oh no, please stop. Oh my God, you're gonna get me killed. And it's like, you turn that thing on and have it just like probably recognize the thing that it's closest to. I don't know if these controllers can do that, but it feels like they should be a little bit smarter than they are about connections. They are still a little bit cumbersome, all controllers, when it comes to that process. And hopefully things like this can sort of improve it. Or maybe it'll just control both devices at the same time, and I would have had the same problem. I don't know. But yeah, nice little updates. How are you feeling about like Sony's tending of the PS5 and giving it updates and making it feel like a modern system that continues to get upgrades?
Well, I think when I first saw this, especially with the DualSense part, I thought of it more as a much easier way for players who are buying PC ports of PS5 games that they may already own to just go back and forth.
I think that's
with the same controller.
Intended,
what I mean? So, but it's also a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I think that being able to use the DualSense as a PC controller, which is something I forget. Right? Like I have PC specific controllers. I have a Razer Wolverine over here.
Yeah.
That's my PC controller. I forget that the DualSense controller can hook up to my PC.
Yeah, a lot of people use it that way, yeah.
Or it's like my mobile devices through Bluetooth. It can do that too. I just forget that I can do that from time to time. So having these reminders and now making it even easier to go back and forth, I think does help the person with multiple devices. Do I see myself using it all that much? No, but I can definitely see the appeal in someone who might want to use the same controller for multiple devices, like you said. Now, will there be something to avoid your potential Silksong catastrophe that you just described? No, I wouldn't count on that. You might, at least not yet. I don't know that technology that Sony is there yet. I think they're just getting the dual connection thing going at the moment. But that would have been tragic for you if you're in the final boss of one of the hardest games made this year and you're a floor away, you're being jeopardized. But like in a game like Silksong, you might just think the game's playing tricks on you, right?
I know, yeah. I was just like, I'm probably just messing up. I'm probably just freaking out. My hands going up there and I'm not even realizing it, but it happened twice really fast. I'm like, I think I know what's going on here. All right, last story here. Dispatch, the superhero comedy from Ex-Telltale devs, confirms PC plus PS5 release date and episodic release. Dispatch, the upcoming workplace superhero comedy adventure game with a strategy layer from a group of ex-Telltale developers, is coming to PC and PlayStation 5 on October 22nd. It will be released episodically over the course of 4 weeks, with 2 episodes dropping each week, starting on October 22nd. It's priced at $30 for the full season or $40 for the deluxe version of the full season that includes a digital art book and 4 digital comics. You took a look at this? You were able to see it, or what's up?
I did. So press embargo for the little preview that I sat in expired while we were on this call about 20 minutes ago. So I could talk about this. Game looks super neat, man. So you play as this as it mentioned, this Robert Robertson, great name, who used to be a hero. He used to be like the Iron Man of this world, Mecha Man, and he got his suit taken away from him. The new trailer that dropped today too, or yesterday too, will have this. And now he's this dispatcher of this of this, so these superheroes, and you're basically assigning superheroes certain jobs based on their personality traits. So if you have someone who is really strong, you're going to want to send them to lift a car off someone. If you have someone who can fly, you want to get a cat out of a tree, right? They're not big jobs. They're just they need superheroes to do these jobs. But then eventually you may have one of them ask you for assistance. And then you patch into the building that they're in and you get different perspectives from different cameras, and you can hack
it's a Republic-like.
Yeah, and you can hack into those cameras through a little hacking mini game. Reminded me of Human Revolution. Whether you like that or not, that's what it was. And then you would go to the scene would shift to a different camera, and there's another hero in there. There's a villain in there, and you have to alert your hero that they're there, walk them through, tell them where they might be. Your choices affect what happens in the battle, so on and so forth. I don't want to know what the branching storyline looks like, what that final poster looks like. It's probably immense, but it had a lot of very interesting aspects to it, more than just the Telltale dialogue choices, right? Like the dispatch screen where you have I think it's 8 different heroes listed here. One of them is a Batman. His name is Sonar. One of them is he uses fire, but he's also very attractive. His name is Flambe, B-A-E, Flambe.
That's real good.
Love that. So you're dispatching them to these places. Things can happen on the way. You have a map of the city that shows you where they're. It just looks really, really neat. I was excited for it anyway because I love Telltale games. I always did. But this extra little layer of strategy elements, like they're saying, and hacking and how it's going to feed into the story, I think is very, very cool. And also, I like their episodic structure. Yes, it is 8 episodes, but it's 2 episodes a week for 4 weeks. Bang, 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 bang. That's how it should be done from now on. I remember The Walking Dead taking 3 months per episode. Yep. I remember it being very frustrating. This is the way to do it. And also, too, as chat reminds me, I should talk about that the cast list is nothing to sneeze at, right? So you have Aaron Paul is the main guy. Jeffrey Wright is in here as well.
I saw that, yeah.
You have Alana Pierce doing voices. You have Moist Critical doing voice. Jacksepticeye doing a voice. A couple other names that I wasn't entirely familiar with. I think Thought Squad is one of them. That's over my head. But Laura Bailey is in it. That Matt Mercer. I keep forgetting those 2 names, but they're in there as well. It pressed every button when I saw this. When I sat it on this thing and watched the trailer, seems really cool. And I'm really pulling for it. October 22nd, definitely circled. Going to play those first 2 episodes. Going to play them all and see where it takes me. Keep it on your radar. So I'm going to say that the demo was pretty cool.
I was a fan of many of the Telltale games. I like any sort of game where you play in your head, and that's where the decisions happen. And it's people are like, hey, but these things with all these paths, sometimes they lead to the same point. It's yeah, you're not supposed to be worried about that. You're just supposed to be worried about how you feel about the choices you're making. And if the game does that, then it's successful. And if you go try to find the branching path to see what's the perfect way of doing something, you're just kind of not playing it the way it's meant to be played. So it's and now this sounds like it's got even more going on. I'll check this out. Sounds very cool.
For sure.
All right, that does it for the headlines. Before we get to the poll question, Chris Kish, the super chat here says, live daily gaming news is still new to me, and I love it. Thank you, guys. Keep working hard. We will, Chris Kish. And Joel has a reporting request in a super chat here. Will we be able to play Metroid Prime 4 on the Virtual Boy peripheral? Move over Half-Life Alyx. Look, you can do whatever you want. There's a way to find out how to do that.
Would that work?
Probably not.
It's first person, right? No,
yeah, but it's
not going to be. Maybe not.
You would have to like sort of hack it. Maybe even you'd have to hack it physically, like add a new lens to like send the one screen out to both lenses separately in some way using a set of mirrors. I don't know. I'm already trying to engineer something here.
You can't just isolate yourself in the Virtual Boy peripheral and be like, I'm playing
you could just
now. Leave me alone.
Yeah, you could just like put it in a cardboard box and put your head in the cardboard box. That's maybe the move right there. Joel, we'll get to work on that and try to find out what we can find for you. All right. We have a poll question to get to, one from Monday. I have the results over here. I should just go ahead and refresh to make sure they're fully updated. All right, let's see here. What game do you want most from Insomniac after Wolverine? Your options were Venom, new Spider-Man, X-Men, new Ratchet and Clank. I'm going to go ahead and vote for a new Ratchet and Clank myself to get the results here. 9% said a new Spider-Man. 11% said Venom, and then 40% said both. This is a tie: X-Men and a new Ratchet and Clank, not the new, as if one exists. So people were really excited for either really new or going back to the old. Spider-Man, I think people are like, yeah, that's like, I would love it, but that's well trodden ground. And even Venom's like, yeah, we've got to play as him in Spider-Man 2. How do you feel about this? Where do you want Insomniac to go?
I wouldn't mind seeing them branch out a little bit. I completely understand the 9% new Spider-Man. They want to see them do something different. That makes perfect sense to me. I wouldn't mind Venom. I think Venom was one of the cooler parts of Spider-Man 2, but I also really like the idea of an X-Men. Like, take whatever the co-op idea was from the Spider-Man game that was shelved and turn that into an X-Men game. That could be neat. I think that would be a really cool idea. They also, I think does Sony still have the X-Men publishing rights like they do with Spider-Man when it comes to movies and stuff like that, or games, I guess, in this case too?
So it's a little bit different. So like for movies, for Spider-Man, Sony has both, and it's a little bit limited for video games where it's just like the big style video game. For X-Men, that was Fox, so that's now over at Disney for movies. Disney. For video games, it's bounced around a bunch, but they clearly do have X-Men for this next Insomniac game. It seems like that's where it is now, and that was from the leaks, so they have not confirmed that publicly still. But they made, right. I mean, they are making a Wolverine game, so they are working in the X-Men stuff. We know that for sure, and now it sounds like they have the universe beyond Wolverine as well.
Yeah. Okay. Then X-Men would be my choice, I think.
I think that we are probably a little bit ways. I think what we get next after Wolverine is Venom, and then we get probably X-Men, and then maybe a Ratchet and Clank at some point on the PS6 way down the line. My computer keeps doing a weird
Sunset Overdrive 2. How about that?
Any minute now. Checking my watch.
Any minute.
All right, we have a new poll question. We will get to it here in a second. Before we do that, though, Jason Fanelli, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all that good stuff?
JasonFanelli.com on Blue Sky, Big Man Fanelli everywhere else. I am writing news at GameSpot, writing reviews at MMORPG.com. I will be in Atlanta next week for MagicCon. Come find me with your Commander decks. Would love to get a game in with you throughout the weekend. I have started posting, as I mentioned at the top of the show, on my personal YouTube channel, just things that come to mind, inspired by one Jeff Grubb and his monologues that he does from time to time. If you watched the first one, thank you, and I apologize for recording it at 12:30 a.m. That's why I seemed like I was a little sluggish. Probably shouldn't have done that. Next one should be going up today. I have an interview with a very cool developer about a very cool game right after this at the bottom of the hour, and I'm going to edit that and post it, trying to have that done by the end of today. Very excited to talk about that. You come check that out when I post it. Other than that, just, vibing, because that's what we do. It's coming up to October baseball. My team is in, and every time I go to sleep, they're losing, and every time I wake up, they've won the game on this Western trip so far.
That's a good sign.
Listen, Dodgers fans, tell me why Dave Roberts takes out Ohtani in the 5th inning during a no-hitter. Why did he do that? Why did he do that? Because the next pitcher gave up 5 runs.
Probably analytics. They're probably like, the numbers say that's what we do now. I'd say, oh boy.
Stop it. Anyway, But yeah, so it's playoff baseball time, man. And if you thought I was nuts during the Super Bowl, that was 1 3-hour game. Imagine what the entire month of October is going to look like for me if this team makes a deep run. It's going to be, next time you talk to me in mid-October, I'll be like, "Hey Jeff, what's going on, man?"
I've seen some shit.
Tom Waits action. But
all right, new poll question: are you ready for Hades 2? Yes or no? I'm trying to get ready. I'm like, got credits in Silk Song, but there's still a lot I want to actually do in that game. But Hades 2 is calling. It's ready to go here very soon. We're talking like 8 days, something like that. That's rough stuff. But maybe I'll be ready at that point. I don't know how I'll actually end up answering this poll. We'll see. Is that a game you're more likely to play than Silk Song, Hades 2?
Yes, I have become very much into the roguelites. I like the games like that. So, and a Hades 1 is incredible. So yes, bring me Hades 2. I have waited. I have not touched any of the early access. I haven't had the time, but when this thing comes out, I'm now realizing it will come out the week it comes out next week, right? So
yep, next week.
I have something to play on the flight to Atlanta.
There you go. Yeah. All right, perfect. All right, so we got that out of the way. We're going to get the results of that poll on tomorrow's episode of Game Mess Mornings here on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, we have plenty going on. Lego Voyagers. Me and Jan are going to play that. It's you and me, right, Jan? We're going to play that later today here, not too long after Game Mess Mornings. It'll be between that and, of course, Blight Club returning. We're doing that at, let me bring up the calendar, make sure we have the right time. Yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern for Blight Club. Could be the last episode of Virtual Highlight. Might not be. Honestly, it's hard to tell. But Mike continues to make some progress. We're not exactly sure what he's going to need to complete his quest there. But at the very least, you can come and root on Sir Mitch a lot at 2 p.m. Looking forward to it. And then, if he does finish it, then we got Dan's game ready to go. So look forward to finding out a little bit more of a tease about what that could be. All right. Got that out of the way. Jason Fanelli, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It is always a pleasure, Jeff. Thank you for having me and for putting up with my bullshit.
Thank you all for listening and watching. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye.